Welcome to Cosmic Comics, Games and Collectibles, your zen of geekism. We carry comics old and new, magazines, toys, games like Pokemon, Magic, D&D. Want Godzilla, Ultraman, Star Trek, Ninja Turtles, Funko Pops? You'll find it all here. Shop our Cosmic Sound Room and pick up a record or two. Enjoy our Comic Coffee Lounge with a cup of Sasquatch coffee or a delicious menu item while geeking out over a super cool movie on our big screen. Come by and say hello to Maui. Cosmic Comic, Games and Collectibles. Superman loves us, and so will you.
Your favorite podcast is Critical Blast.
And good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I am RJ Carter, Senior Managing Editor here at CriticalBlast.com, Chief Envelope Licker for Critical Blast Logistics, nearsighted proofreader for Critical Blast Publishing, and apparently, and I just found out today, and I know I tease this every time, but this time I really mean it, I am now the janitor at Critical Blast Consulting. So, yes, we did it. We branched out into another arena. This crowdfunding business just has us... There's a lot you can do to help people. We started with the shipping, and now we're consulting with other matters on it. So, if you have problems with your crowdfunding, you have questions about how to set things up, you have questions about running it that go beyond the international shipping questions, we're here. We'll talk to you. We will help you out, and our rates will be extremely reasonable. So far, they've been free, but apparently that's not what we should be doing. So, bad business model, I'm told. So we're going to work that out. Crowdfunding comics. It's been a boom to the comics industry. All this pop culture has been a boom to the comics industry. But there's a side industry that's kind of cropped up, and you're looking at it. And I don't mean all the stuff I just talked about. I'm talking about the actual thing you're looking at now, which is podcasting. And with us tonight, we have a pair of guys who've taken on the pop culture world through their own podcast with the Steve and Crypto Show. So please welcome to the show, Steve Strout and Crypto Zoo.
What's happening, guys? How you doing?
I need an applause button. I need get on that StreamYard. We need sound. We need soundboards.
I'll applaud myself. How about that?
Like that. So how are you guys doing tonight?
We are good. We're good. Just literally walked in the door from work, but I've been hyped all day to get on here and talk to you guys. And
oh man, boy, are you going to come away disillusioned?
That's what we usually tell people. That's like we're very self-deprecating. Is that the word?
Yeah,
self-deprecating. But like on our show, yeah, we usually thank people for putting up.
We're pretty good at it.
Well, I tell people how bad I am, and then I live up to it. Promises made, promises kept.
Can't let them down, right?
No, absolutely. So what got you guys in? It is. Yeah, I do this every night. And look, water, no excuse. Like last night when I was halfway into a bottle and I was slurring my words and stuff. No, H2O. Why'd you guys decide to get into this crazy thing?
The main reason I wanted to do it, well, first of all, me and Caleb, or Crypto Zoo, his stage name, we go way back. We're like family, and we've been talking about doing this for a while. But I had been doing, I have a website, blog, thestevestrout.com, where I've done interviews and covered, pop culture conventions and everything for years, a long time. And I used to do the interviews, like phone interviews and stuff, and I would have to transcribe them and type them up to put them on the screen. And that, to be honest, I got lazy. I just got lazy, and I was like, you know what? Everybody's podcasting now. Why don't I take what I do and just make it easier for myself by doing the audio show, and also give me a chance to learn something new. I love to learn new stuff, like, technological stuff. And like, I have no experience with audio production or anything. So I figured, why not? I'll not have to type 8 hours to transcribe an interview, and I can learn how to edit audio. So I just put two and two together, and here we go.
Yeah, and it's you do a couple of live interviews, you'll never go back to, to
Yeah, I
typing them
am
up again.
not gonna press another key in my life.
I don't know what your transcription rate was, but I've been doing this since back in the day when I had to use cassette tapes,
Yeah.
and pop
Yep.
them in, and you get the little. I still got it in a junk drawer somewhere. This okay for all you young kids out there. You used to have phones that came with the house, not the one in your
Yeah.
pocket. Plugged
Yep.
in the wall and had a little coily wire, and you picked the headset up of it and left the rest of the phone somewhere else.
Yeah.
So I had a little doohickey that you plug it into the phone, and then you plug the headset into it, and it went to a recorder, so I could talk on the phone and record the conversations.
Yeah, I had a little handheld recorder. At first, I had the little cassettes, and I had a little like a microphone thing that would plug into it, like an external mic. But I would put it in my ear like an earbud, and hold up to the phone receiver, and it would record the audio on the other end. So it was
That was what I finally
kind of
went
cool.
to when I got
Yeah.
a digital recorder.
Getting
It was
it done
it was
either
just
way.
it was just a microphone. You plugged it in, but then you put the thing in your ear, and the outside piece of the microphone
Yeah.
of the
Was the
headphone
mic.
was a microphone.
Yep.
So it's just like this one little ball that was mic on this way, earphone on this way, and you plugged it in, you put the phone up to it. It doesn't work if you put the phone to the other ear while you're talking.
Yeah,
So
no.
you have to be careful about that.
Yeah, I never did that, but I know I've actually done interviews. We would normally record remotely on Zoom, and there's a few times I didn't press the record button. So yeah.
I
But-
had I did an interview with a guy, 45 minutes on the phone, and I sat down to transcribe it, and it wasn't Zoom, it was like the digital recorder,
Yeah.
and I had plugged the microphone into the headphone,
Oh wow.
so I had my half of the conversation,
Oh no.
and blank, and then I'd say something, and then blank. We did it again, and as soon as I did that, I took tape. I'm like, I never listened to this thing through the machine. I always plugged it in the computer, brought it over as a digital file, and then played it from there. So I just plugged up the ear hole so that I could never accidentally stick something in there again.
Yeah.
So Pops, I saw Pops. There he is in the chat. Did I explain the crash of everything is my fault? It's not that kind of crypto. Secondly,
Yeah, no, that's actually an issue that we have a lot.
Oh man, I
we
knew we
get-
were gonna get into this.
We
knew
get
it was gonna come up.
tons of people tagging us and private
Right away.
messages and stuff trying to talk to us about cryptocurrency because his name is
Yeah.
Crypto Zoo. But if
So-
he can explain why he's Crypto Zoo if you don't mind.
Yeah. So,
Go for
and
it.
I've said this on our show before. It kind of started when I was like 3 years old, and I watched Harry and the Hendersons. And I remember watching it at my grandma's house, like going into the kitchen when like they got him tied up to the roof of the car, and he's about to fly off, but he comes down on the hood and he's like showing his teeth and shit. Are we allowed to cuss on here?
Sure, why not?
Okay. And so, I'd run around into the kitchen, but I'd be peeking around the corner, still looking at it. Like I was intrigued, not scared by it. And that's kind of how I've always been with the unknown, is it's just intriguing to me. And so even all through school, man, I was like researching Bigfoot and Loch Ness and things like that. And it's there's like no firm evidence out there that any of that stuff exists, but there's a fair amount of both. Like, there's some evidence and then some bullshit, or some.
Yeah.
You'll listen to some people talk, you're like, that's got to be just made up.
Crazy
They're just-
talk. Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
crazy talk.
But people like the made up stuff.
Every one of those stories, this is just my opinion, every one of those stories can't be fake. I feel
No.
like, a lot of them probably did see a black bear in the forest, or they saw something that looked like maybe a Sasquatch, but they can't all be lying.
No, in fact, one of the most popular sets of videos on our channel and articles on the website is reviews and clips of mountain monsters, and ain't none. 100% of that is all bullshit.
Yeah.
There's nothing real in that at all. But people love it, and they'll watch it.
It's still interesting to see, even if you don't think it's real, just to see the emotions and stuff, and come out of these people when they tell their stories.
Oh yeah,
It's fun.
yeah. The people who have
To
actually
me,
witnessed
yeah.
something. But when I was like 12, I had a scrapbook, I guess you could call it, although they weren't pasted in. No, I was taping them in, but I was cutting out articles of UFO sightings, Bigfoot sightings. Unfortunately, they were all coming from the World Weekly News because my grandmother had a subscription, and I'd get them. I'm like, "Here's another UFO article. They're all over the place. Why isn't anybody reporting this on television?" But you guys are all over the place too with the unknown and pop culture and Peacemaker, Boba Fett, and Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Yeah, we're looking forward to that one.
He's lying. We don't like any of that stuff.
Well, there's a market out there to be had for podcasting about stuff you don't like.
No.
Bet.
We talk about plenty of things we love. We talk about some things we don't like. Zack Snyder. But we talk about some things that we love as well.
Oh, we heard him. Sorry.
Oh.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of some of his stuff.
I'll get the matches.
Oh, Steve's eyes are burning now.
I gotta go. I'm out.
I haven't watched the new one yet. Or I say new. All the trailers I saw was like, this is a completely different movie. And I've yet to sit down and actually, because I think to watch that Zack Snyder movie requires a personal commitment to finishing it.
Yeah.
And I don't have that big of a block of time in the middle of the day where I'm going to do nothing.
Yeah.
It's just like 2 more hours of unnecessary footage.
Well,
it's the same movie, just like I said, 2 more hours. There's like a really weird Aquaman scene, and pretty much.
Don't spoil it.
Spoilers. 2-year-old spoilers.
Oh.
What is your like threshold? Like, what is your time frame for a spoiler?
I was just wondering the same thing.
How long do you have a window?
A week.
A week. Is that
Let
for
it come out on
movies
the
or
weekend.
television?
Yeah, let it come out on the weekend for like a movie. Wait past the next weekend, and then you're like, okay, you've had 2 weekends to catch this thing. It's 10 days in. We're going to talk about it.
That's about right. How about for a TV show?
For a TV, for TV shows it's a lot harder. Well, less than that, because almost every TV show you can stream the next day, or somewhere else. So
I usually say about 48 hours for a TV show, and then
So what are your thoughts on Peacemaker?
The second weekend. Oh, Peacemaker. It's if you've listened to us and our kind of humor that we bring, and we're kind of, I don't want to say immature, but we do bring like some crude commentary and stuff sometimes mixed in with our passionate talk about pop culture and horror stuff. And Peacemaker, just the humor that James Gunn is bringing with that show is exactly, it's like us. It's our personality.
It's almost like somebody was listening to the show, like, here's something you guys can talk about.
Yeah.
I'm torn on it myself because, for one thing, it's set in the DC extended universe. We know that for a fact now because these characters exist, which means that Peacemaker in the DCEU is not a joke. He is a joke, but he's still trying to be a hero. And I can watch that. I'm like, okay, well, nobody cares about Peacemaker. Do what you really want with him. But Vigilante was my jam. That was I was there for New Teen Titans Annual #2, and before I saw Adrian Chase's family get blown up, and I'm like, this is a nerdish kid with the same secret identity name and the same and no training, but he's like a badass in the costume, and he's a dope.
Right. See, I wasn't familiar with most of them characters.
Me neither.
Before the Suicide Squad and this show. How similar was the Vigilante character?
Not at all.
Not at all.
They nailed the costume. The costume's perfectly nailed. But no, Vigilante was like a real serious thing. He was a district attorney, shades of Matt Murdock.
Right. So he wasn't a table busser?
No. He was a district attorney who went after people who got off on technicalities that should have gone to jail or should have got the death penalty. And later on, he became a judge. And the whole series, he was conflicted about, whether or not he should do what he's doing or just take on the judgeship and work the justice system from the inside. And the more he did it, the more it wore on him until he quit. Somebody else took up the costume. Then he had to stop whoever had the costume and took it back, did some more work in it. And it ended with him blowing his brains out in front of a mirror. So he committed suicide in 1988. So I guess they can do what they want with the character because technically he is dead. But
right. I wonder if James Gunn is going to bring it that angle and kind of end it like that. That's something that I wouldn't be surprised by him doing.
They're playing him more like Deadpool.
Yeah, I get a little bit of that, and that actually brings me to a question that I wanted to ask. Just a good topic we can bring up here. I deliver beer for a living, and so I was talking.
Give him my address.
If I can make it that way, I'll bring you some. So, I was talking to another delivery guy, and we just started going off about Marvel, DC, and everything, and he thought that it was getting on his nerves, the fact that there's so many movies now that are kind of taking the Deadpool print or like the comedy and just throwing it in all these superhero movies. And I'm kind of on the opposite end where I feel like, well, we've already had 30, let's say 30 serious superhero
like
films.
these straight laced superheroes.
Yeah. Why not throw in some funny ones? I enjoyed Guardians. I love Deadpool. I love things like, those superhero films that make me laugh as well. So I'm just wondering, how do you feel about that? Do you want to keep them serious, or are you fine with them making them a little goofy?
I say keep them true to the characters that they are. I don't want to see a Batman 66 again. I think that would, be bad. But I think if you made a gritty Blue Beetle and Booster Gold film, it would be wrong there too, because that's not who they are.
Yeah.
A blue and gold film should be wahaha. Our scheme failed to do what we wanted it to, and now we've got a mess to clean up. The Flash. The Flash can be lighthearted. His villains were always kind of a joke, who would get the upper hand by accident sometimes. So they were a threat, but they weren't. They were a weird bunch. They had respect for him, which was kind of weird, as opposed to Batman's Rogues Gallery, where they just all wanted to kill him. A Green Lantern should have a little bit of humor in it, and I thought Ryan Reynolds did. I liked the Green Lantern movie. I liked him in it. I think it had places where the writing kind of went askew, the plot went askew, but beyond that, I thought, he's a test pilot. He's going to be a smartass. He's going to be Top Gun in, he's going to be Tom Cruise in Top Gun, which was a serious movie with humorous elements in it, because that's, you've got to be a little smartass to stay sane in that kind of an environment.
Yep.
So, it's when they do things like, Peacemaker was never a joke. Peacemaker was definitely a very serious kill-em-all character. He's still a kill-em-all character, but I don't remember his father being a white supremacist supervillain. And I'd certainly love for them to explain how he gets his hands on high-tech weaponry living in the house that he lives in and on the budget that he's apparently living on.
He seems like he's living off his low means. On the outside, he looks just like a retired dude living off his Social Security or something. But then he got, like you said, all that crazy tech. And let's see, trying to read the comments that are popping up.
Yeah, Peacemaker's a little torn between being woke and making fun of it, mainly through Cena's eyes. And they did do the real vigilante, Adrian Chase, in the Arrowverse years ago, although that technically wasn't still. It was a far cry from vigilante, even though they called him Adrian Chase. And Harrowenberg, by the way, runs his own show and comic book, both called Heroinberg. The comic book is sort of like Femforce from the 90s. It's female superheroes operating in Heroinberg, and to complement that, he has his own live action web series where he has lady actors who portray the middle adventures. So you have this. The books complement the movies complement the books. The full experience is reading the books and subscribing to Heroinberg. So,
Oh well, I'll have to check that out.
That's pretty cool.
and now his newest heroine, Vigilanta, is in season 2. So, everyone check out the web link there and go watch some superheroines in action.
Yeah.
Nice. I'll have to track it down after we get off here and take a look. It sounds pretty cool.
It is pretty cool. What were we talking about? We were talking about.
We started talking about the show, and then we went into talking about Peacemaker. But
yeah. So you guys talk about how do you plan what you're going to talk about? It's just whatever happened that week, or you fly by the seat of your pants like I do?
It's a combination. It's a mix.
Yeah, definitely a mix of both. Yeah.
And they usually go ahead.
We throw topics back and forth, throughout the week. Like after one episode is done, then, the next week we pretty much go over like news, or mention things here and there that we have found that's going on or things that were announced. And then of course we try to fit guests in when we can and promote people. And, we have like full on interview segments, and then we have segments that are shorter, maybe like 10-15 minutes, where we'll have someone come on and just say, hey, I'm working on a book or whatever, working on an album or something. And so yeah, we like to mix it up, but we definitely plan it week to week.
I mean, there's some days when we're the day of, like, we're sitting down and getting ready to record, like, what do you got, or some weeks we're ahead and we have a big show planned out, and it's just kind of like you said, by the seat of our pants. We just wing it, we just go for it.
And was there any particular event that you guys wanted to talk about that caused you to say, hey, let's do this as a podcast?
Mainly, like I said, we had just been wanting to do this, and I was already doing the kind of stuff that we're doing on the show, and I was like, well, we both love this stuff, especially horror, so let's just do it. And we kept putting it off, but then COVID hit, and we had the downtime to do it, and we just started it, and just the ball's been rolling ever since.
COVID opened a lot of opportunistic doors for people, I think.
You
get stuck at home. For some people, the paycheck was still coming to some degree.
I mean, besides all the negative that came from it, that's coming from COVID, I feel like you said, a lot of people were able to find time to get on that creative project or something they wanted to do.
Yeah.
And that's the Stephen Crypto Show. Exactly that.
So you talked about horror, and I watched your latest YouTube video where you're opening the NECA, the NECA balls.
Look at that! Yeah. We're finally talking to the only person that watched our video. That's awesome.
Yep, there's him. It was him.
You're like that little kid in Ghostbusters Afterlife. You're my subscriber.
Right.
Yep. Yeah. Yep. You did finally. You watched that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. No, you didn't watch it yet.
I just watched it this week.
Okay.
Oh no!
Yeah.
I'm more of like just hitting my chest here, because that movie just gets you at the end, man. Like it. I mean, the whole film really, but like it tugs at your heartstrings a little bit.
It was a nice moment. It was a sweet moment. If
you focus on the feels, it's a great film. If you analyze it, it's less than great, but still good.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, she's all about the science. She says that none of this stuff exists, and yet the first time something happens to her, there's no Velma moment where she's like looking for the wires. It's like, the lamp goes, and she's like, oh.
Yeah, she thinks nothing of it.
Just takes it. Just goes with it.
You're not scared at all.
Not scared, not questioning it. Says, oh, I guess it is real. And just moves on with it from there. But worthy successor to the franchise. And I really hope that post-credit scene means we are going to get another one. Because, the light is green, the trap is clean. The light went green.
Yeah.
Yep.
And that was the other thing that I thought they messed up in the film. If anybody caught it, was the fact that, they said that the original firehouse had become a Starbucks.
Yeah.
But apparently not.
No, it wasn't.
It was still there.
I think they were just saying that with the assumption, because they were talking about somebody buying up the properties in that neighborhood or something, if I remember right. And
it could be that they thought it was.
They just assumed, they're gentrifying all the neighborhoods. They just assumed it was that. And
we got Joe Ball in the chat. Aaron Jordan, thank you guys. Glad you're here.
Hey,
yeah,
thanks,
I just got the review up for Ghostbusters Afterlife on the website now, criticalblast.com, in case nobody could figure that out. So that's out there. Next one on my list, I have to wait until Tuesday to go for the digital because it's not going to let me do it yet. But Stargirl season 2, the only CW superhero show still worth watching.
Right. I haven't even checked that out yet.
Oh man,
I kind of lost. I kind of lost the when those shows started. Arrow, Flash, they were great, and I just kind of got burnt out on them.
Well, yeah, CW, and I'm waiting for it to happen to Superman, and I think it's going to. But CW can't do a superhero show; they have to do a teen show. You saw it with the Flash, where suddenly he's working with Frost and Elongated Man and Vibe. They did it with Supergirl. They did it with Arrow. And I can see where the Superman and Lois is going to become Superman and Superboy and Natalie Irons in the steel suit. And I totally predict that Sarah is going to get some sort of a power as well. Just because I know the way that they work things on the CW.
Right. Just giving everybody powers.
You get a power. You get a power.
Yeah.
Look under your chair.
Yeah.
We have to have a hashtag Team Superman. And Lois will be on it. She'll be the smartest one on the team. So
yeah. It just got a little too much for me. I just got fried on that stuff.
Yes, the villains did get dumber each time, and the heroes got dumber each time, and the heroes took the spot, took second fiddle to their own show. It became Iris and her amazing friends after a couple of seasons, and yet I still watch it. Last season I thought was pretty good, but short too. The Armageddon season with Despero and his time his. I must time travel to make sure that I don't destroy the world. Oh, guess what I did? I destroyed the world. I don't know. I was always a huge DC fan. So
right.
I was there for every crisis except Heroes in Crisis, which I noped out of in the middle for the first time ever.
I like that, noped out.
Yeah.
I'm going to use that. I'm going to have to nope out.
Yeah. I got to, Hal Jordan saying, "What is willpower anyway?" I'm like, oh, fuck.
Bye. Yep. See you later. Yep.
Yeah. I had a video review where I was reviewing the comic. I'm like, I threw the thing behind me. I'm like, I'm done.
Here's my review.
Oh, but we were talking little balls. Now they the same company that made Zorbs or whatever they were called? Because I've got about a quadrillion of these little tiny DC superhero and Marvel figures that are made out of plastic, and you had to buy them in a mystery ball, and then you had to crack the ball open to see what was in there.
Oh,
I
does
don't
Funko
think
make
so.
those? Because they make
No, it wasn't Funko.
No, okay.
I would have remembered, but they were called Orbs, ORBZ.
Orbs.
And
that sounds familiar.
Yeah,
and they weren't in a bag. You just bought the ball, and it was sealed with tape. And if you squeezed it, you could kind of get it crack open and take a peek in there.
See who you got. Yeah.
Probably why I quit doing that. But the reason I brought it up in the first place was because you've mentioned before that this was sort of a horror fandom thing that drove you to do the podcast as well. And the balls you were cracking open were the Universal monsters.
Yes.
So, I was going to ask what your definition of horror is. I mean, is it the more classic stuff, or is it just horrific things happening to somebody?
I think it depends on the viewer, to be honest. Because there's some stuff that people consider horror now that I just think is stupid.
Yeah.
A lot of like all like the possession movies and stuff. Those are all, to me, they're just not interesting.
Yeah, and see things like Texas Chainsaw Massacre, and Scream. There's no supernatural element to those, so I'm not seeing the horror in them. It's a criminal chasing you, and that can be scary. But again, it's horror that can be solved by a well placed bullet.
Yeah, that's a good point. But I mean,
Yeah.
it's still for the people that are being victimized by them. It's horror, I guess.
Oh, it would definitely be, but
Like I said, it's the viewer. You know what I mean? Like you have a different opinion of like slasher films. I have my opinion of ghost stories and the stuff Crypto likes. I know he
Yeah.
likes stuff that has a humor twist to it. So it's
Oh yeah, man, I'm a sucker for like horror comedies like Evil Dead, even some like Idle Hands. That's one that a lot of people kind of forget about. I love that movie. I watched it a lot as a teenager. Chucky, Child's Play. That's one of my top favorites. I like a villain that is also a bit of a smartass, or
Yeah.
a villain that has some personality. Like I love Michael Myers and Jason. They're cool, but they're silent killers, and that's okay. But I also, I appreciate Chucky's and Freddy's and people like that. Going back to the silent killer thing, though, I gotta say a new addition to that grouping that is awesome, and he does have personality, even though he doesn't speak. Art the Clown.
yeah.
What show is he in?
He is in Terrifier.
I have not heard of
It was
Terrifier.
it was a indie horror film.
And it's a gruesome one.
The movie overall is not super memorable. The thing that stands out is all like the kill scenes. It has some very unique stuff that you never seen done in movies before. It's really
Well, see,
really
and
brutal.
the movie that describes that for me is Saw, the original Saw movie.
Right.
With the death traps that had their way out if you were willing to commit to the bit and take them. The problem I have with those kind of franchise movies is like, this is a really cool idea. You've got a villain with a unique take. He's not going to do it 25 more times. In another movie and a movie and a movie after that and a movie after that. It's like, stop. let it be. Let the memory be good.
I think that's Rob Zombie's take on things. Is he originally didn't want? I mean, I think he kind of gave in over time, but I know years ago he didn't want to do another Devil's Rejects. He made the two Corpses and Rejects, and then he kind of just wanted to leave those characters alone because how things can go with these sequels, and it can often just kind of take away the excitement of the character, or just, I don't know, they start to become less popular.
Yeah. Now for me, there was a horror film I saw. God, was it within the last 5 years? Time goes so fast now. And I got it. I had to show the Walmart manager. I'm like, this doesn't belong here, because it was totally being mismarketed. Because it was the Banana Splits.
Oh,
and,
yeah. See, that was fun.
That was fun, but when you're my age, you're like, Flegel, what did they do to you? And it was, it was Five Nights at Freddy's, totally ripping off Five Nights at Freddy's and throwing the Banana Splits.
Yeah, it was probably just cheaper to get the rights to use the Banana Splits characters than the Five Nights at Freddy's characters.
More than likely.
I think they've had a Five Nights show in development for a while now. So
yeah.
And then they ended it with the typical cliffhanger. They all got away, and their super fan dressed herself up or something. I forget how. I don't know. Somebody's got them, and she's going to put them all back together, and they'll set up in another show, and then the same plot will play out, and the family will be terrorized, and there will be assholes who deserve it, and they'll be the ones who get killed first in the most gruesome ways.
See, I think that's the thing that I personally like about horror is I don't feel the need to have to think. I don't need no psychological stuff. I just want to see the art of the effects and stuff they use.
Yeah.
And I want to see the unique ways they come up with to kill somebody, or it, because I know it's if I look at it at art. You know what I mean? I'm a fan of like special effects and makeup and stuff like that. So that's why I watch it, because I want to see what kind of cool stuff they come up with.
Yeah, so you're watching it and saying, and while everyone else is screaming, you're like, how did they do that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's definitely part of it for me as well. I've always thought, like, I do music, and I always thought, like, if I wasn't really deep into music, I would want to work on a film or just work on horror projects or whatever. So something I've always thought about is, some of these movies, they make us laugh. Some of these horror movies, even though they're not meant to, they make us laugh just because of the, either the
over the top absurdity,
the blood, or how poorly filmed it was, or whatever. But fans, people that are in the community, we know we can't really laugh at those scenes with just anyone. Like if the three of us were hanging out watching the movie, watching Evil Dead or whatever, we know we're laughing because it's so ridiculous. But some people might take it the wrong way and think you need to go to the mental clinic. So it's
but those are the people that should probably stay away from watching horror movies anyways.
Yeah,
they take it that seriously. It's like
exactly.
It's just a movie, it's entertainment. It's no different than, it's different, but it's really no different than watching Saturday morning cartoons or anything. It's entertainment
or the news.
And for me, it's all story.
Yeah.
I think one of the few horror films that I actually felt disturbed by watching. Well, there were two of them for different reasons. The first one was The Good Son with Macaulay Culkin, because he's like, he's just a serial killer and he's 10. What do you do? You can't really shoot him, and you've got to catch him, and he was putting the blame on this other kid all the time, just so perfectly, with his Eddie Haskell like innocence.
Yeah.
So there was that, and then the other one was Orphan.
Oh yeah,
I think just creepy kids are just creepy. So
yeah,
I think that's a big part of it.
Yeah. Well, and that one creeped me out because the actress was a kid, and she was playing somebody with proportional dwarfism.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, so she's supposed to be 35, and that makes it okay for her to put on the makeup and the pantyhose and come on to the dad. But really, she's still just a kid, and that was the part that creeped me out the most, was the making of that film.
Yeah, that had a cool twist. I love that movie. That was pretty well done.
It did have a really cool twist.
Yeah, scary kids, man. Just they're creepy as shit. Like
Children of the Corn, all that kind of stuff.
Children of the Corn. God, the little girl in 30 Days of Night. She's like, I'm done playing with this one. Like, ugh.
Yeah. Let the Right One In.
Yeah. Yep, that's a good one too. Both versions.
Yeah. I think the one I saw was the one with Chloe Grace Moretz.
Yeah, that's the remake. The original, I think, was it the original called Let the Right One In, and then the remakes Let Me In, or reversed?
I don't know.
They changed the title slightly, but it's the same story basically. I think the original's Let the Right One In. Yeah, better than Annabelle, that's for sure.
Orphan was better than Annabelle. Annabelle's one of those movies where, like, I've watched a couple of those The Conjuring films now, and I don't know. I don't feel like the couple are committed to the fact that horror exists yet, because it's like, oh, this is based on the real life, events of this or that, and these investigators. And yet every time they investigate something, they're like, yeah, this isn't anything. You shouldn't be worried about it. I'd be like, by the third one, I'd be like, yeah, you should move out.
Yeah. I would just leave.
Yeah.
As soon as something crazy happened, I'd be like, you're on your own, folks. You can move out. But
here we've got the possessed doll. This doll is demonic. What should we do with it? Well, let's take it home where our kids can find it.
Of course, that's what you
Burn it.
Why not?
Perfect. It's the right thing to do. Yeah.
Yeah. And recycle that doll. Let some other child play with it. Why not ours?
You incinerate that doll. That's what you do with it.
Yeah. So what's new in horror that you guys are looking forward to now?
Oh, well, we mentioned the Texas Chainsaw Massacre movie. I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah.
So that's
even more so after that new trailer.
Yeah, yeah. So the remake has let me in. Yeah. And oh, she's so good in Kick Ass. I love that series, man. I wish they would have kept it going.
Yeah, I got to phone interview her right after the first Kick Ass movie, and I kind of at the end of the I was like, can we record on for the videos, and she couldn't do it because she was 12, and I said, can you say something like stay tuned to Critical Blast or I'll kick your ass, and she's like, well, I'm not allowed to cuss. I'm like, I'm glad to hear that, but now I have all kinds of more questions because you just played Hit Girl in this film. She's like, well, there's a script, and then there's like, what I can really say.
The diarrhea wand.
I sat down and I put her cataloged all the work she'd done when she did Dark Shadows, and I talked at the time I was working for another website. And I showed it to my editor. I'm like, so which ones do you think we should mention in the show? He's like looking at it. She's like, how old is she? I'm like, she's like, 13. She's like, that girl's going to need therapy when she's 20. because of everything she'd been in with all this disturbing killer stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, jumping back to what you were saying, with the horror thing. Steve mentioned Texas Chainsaw. Definitely looking forward to that. Both of us for sure. Steve's already seen Scream 5. I have not, but I believe I'm going to go see it tonight. So I'm ready for that.
Oh, I see that. Yes, you are.
I'm ready for that one. I'm like,
You going to bring a knife too?
The one that I got tatted on my arm, I'll bring that.
You know what? I don't think I have ever seen a horror film in a theater.
Really?
I've always seen them at home. Which sort of makes it a little bit more scary because you've got that more solitary feel to yourself while you're watching all this happen. You're like,
right,
nobody there, but in a theater
what
with
was that sound,
crowd.
Hearing sounds in the kitchen, like what was that?
Yeah.
Go watch Strangers at home by yourself. That'll freak you out.
Oh yeah, that was a good home invasion film.
Yeah. But yeah, Scream, definitely looking forward to that. Chainsaw, what else is coming out? This is far down the road, and I don't even know if they're still working on it. But the Gremlins prequel, I'm
the series,
I love Gremlins so much. I even wrote a song about drunk people, and I called it Gremlins. But last I heard they were working on like a Netflix series or maybe HBO Max or something, and it was going to be animated, which it's okay, prefer another movie, but whatever. And it's supposed to be about the shop owner when he's younger, and him and Gizmo together and different adventures that they deal with. So
okay, so sort of like Back to the Future, the animated series.
Yeah.
I'll probably watch it and either like it or make fun of it. I forgot what I was going to say now. I was going somewhere else for a second. Oh, horror movies though. Like it's like, when did you know you were a horror movie guy? Because it was like a couple of years back. My son was 12, and it was just him and me on a weekend. We were gonna rent some movies and watch it, and he wanted to see It. I'm like, okay, this is $5.99 that I'm going to throw away for 10 minutes.
Right.
And arms start getting ripped off, and he starts laughing. I'm like, either he's taking it really, really well, or I should be really, really worried and sleep light.
Yeah. Like, I don't know if this is a problem or if I got
Yeah.
a new little fan on our hands or.
Yeah. So when did you guys know that horror was your jam?
Go ahead.
Oh man. Probably at a pretty young age, honestly. Like, I remember going to stay the night at my aunt and uncle's house, and my cousin was like, "Hey, come in my room and I'll put on Sleepy Hollow for you to watch." And I think I was 7, and she was like, "All right, I'm going to my friend's house. Good night," and just left me in her room by myself to watch this movie with people getting heads cut off left and right. And I remember not being too scared by it.
Right.
So there's that, and then we used to have a video store here in town, and the back corner was the horror movie section. And I found myself going back there, and maybe it's something about, well, I know it is. It's something about the old VHS covers of horror movies.
Covers, man. That cover
Yeah,
art.
that cover art pulls you in. And especially at this store, they had, like, if they had Friday the 13th, they had every sequel there. Whatever it was, they had all the sequels. So I'd go in on the weekend on Friday night and just rent like 4 of them, 5 of them, and that was my weekend. Just go and binge them.
Just think how many bad movies. Well, I'd say in the 80s, but you weren't there in the 80s. But how many bad horror movies you watched because of the cover art looks so badass?
Yeah,
just tons, like all of them.
Yeah, I'm a sucker for, like, let's take this animal and just make it bigger, and have it attack people, like creature features and things like that. Like,
they've been doing that since the 50s, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, one that
that's-
comes to mind, it's not necessarily a great one, but I thought of it. Mosquito. You ever see that?
I have not seen Mosquito.
I think I've
I was
seen that
thinking
one.
of them.
I
Yeah,
used to watch this shit on the Sci-Fi Channel. It'd pop up all the time, and I just get sucked into it because it's like these oversized mosquitoes that are just knocking people over and just sucking the blood right out of them. And you see all these bodies laying around looking like they're drained to death. And I mean, the special effects weren't bad. They kind of looked like something that you would see like out of a Romero flick.
I think the giant creature flick that finally either put the cap on the industry for a while, or at least it did it for me, was Night of the Lepus.
yeah,
It was Lepus.
yeah,
Giant bunny rabbits.
yeah. I saw that one not too long ago. I think Svengoolie showed that one not too long ago.
Oh yeah, that
It
would
was,
that would be right up his alley to show that.
It wasn't that great. It was kind of it was funny. It was entertaining. That's what I look for. Any movie I watch, I look to be entertained. If I don't like it, I just leave it alone, unless it's the Snyder cut, and I just can't.
You
That
want to see
just
the Snyder
rubbed me
cut
the
of Night
wrong
of the
way.
Lepus?
There you go. There's 5 hours of killer bunnies. That would probably be more entertaining than the Justice League.
Some of them explode.
I know I said that I like horror comedies, but I was just thinking you got to ride the line, because I don't know if you've ever seen Ginger Dead Man, but that one's just too far. Like my friends and I, we rented that when we were in high school, and we got 40 minutes through it, and I think all of us thought we're just not even inebriated enough for this. Like, no, this we got to shut this one off.
Yeah,
Wasn't
wasn't great, that's for sure, but it was definitely entertaining. You just got to be in the right mindset.
Yeah.
there
Apparently,
was
you
one I
weren't.
rented in the 80s.
We tried to be in the right mindset for it. It wasn't. We didn't get there.
Yeah.
THC contents were not high enough.
No.
High enough.
No. Like, boy,
Yeah.
I'm not enjoying this whatsoever.
Well, you talk about horror comedy. One of the ones that I rented in the 80s that I think still holds up, because it was a spoof on so many different horror films. It was called Student Bodies, and it was just this killer was going around killing the high school students, and you had the brainy girl who was like the Laurie Strode of the whole thing, and she was going to figure it all out. And girls would be taking showers, and they'd be upstairs, and he'd be breaking into the house. You're like, and you know, in the Cleaver's living room, he just opens up like the liquor cabinet, and here's like, you know, just an array of hatchets and knives and cutters. He's like, no, not that. And then he said, and he picks up a box of paper clips. And he goes up the stairs, and he takes forever to get up the stairs because he steps in gum. He trips on a block. And then, you know, they find the body, and it's just got like all these straightened paper clips just stuck all on her and bled her to death. But it had a body count. And every time somebody died, the bottom of the screen would flash, body count is 1, bing, bing, bing.
That's awesome.
So you get to keep track of it that way. It was hilarious all the way through it.
They kind of did that on the new Chucky series at the very end. I mean, not through the show, but at the end, like they did a little kill count thing, and it kind of reminded me of some old horror.
Yep.
That
was actually a great show. Yeah. My earliest horror probably be before I mention it. I might as well say I think today is George A. Romero's birthday.
Oh.
So I got to mention.
A moment of silence.
Yeah. He's my all-time favorite horror movie is the original Night of the Living Dead. That's my personal favorite. I love that movie. I watch it 10 times a year probably. But
coming to get you, Barbara.
We had him on our show actually.
There we go.
Really?
We had Russ Striner on our show. Not just past Halloween before. He was our special guest on the Halloween episode. Well,
that'd be cool.
It was fun. He's a nice guy. I still talk with him every once in a while, and he's just one of the nicest people I ever met.
So do you have connections with these actors through whatever it is that you do outside the podcast?
Some of them I connect with, yeah. Like I say, like Russ I consider him a friend now. Yeah, he's a good guy. But that movie, my earliest memories of watching movie, just film in general, was Night of the Living Dead.
And that's public domain now, isn't it?
I believe it is, but I think when they remastered it, they somehow did some legal stuff, so you can't mess with the remastered version of it. So, but yeah, that's been public domain since they released it, because they screwed up some paperwork or something on the print of the film. I guess you're supposed to put copyright info or something in the credits or something, and somebody screwed up. And
you know, there's a couple of movies that I've seen that I didn't realize weren't copyrighted versions. One of them, Crypto, was The Legend of Boggy Creek.
Oh yeah,
which I didn't realize until I had her on the show. The filmmaker's daughter, and name's just totally escaping me right now because it's been so long. But they were releasing it on Blu-ray, and she said, "Oh, and by the way, every DVD you've ever watched until now has been bootleg because this is the only time we've ever released it."
Yeah.
Officially, yeah. Wow.
Yeah. So I was like, and I got it at Walmart. So like, I bought a bootleg DVD at Walmart.
It's so weird to think how much money the filmmaker missed out on. Like, how much money would Romero have made? Like, he did all right for himself, but how much more money would he have made if that movie was not public domain? Because there were hundreds of different releases of that film on VHS and DVD and everything over the years. So it's like, it's crazy. Like, he missed out on a lot of money. Yeah.
Man,
if you had,
I got to jump in real quick and just say it's funny that you mentioned Boggy Creek. Of all movies, funny you say that. When I used to DJ, I had samples of different movies and things that I would throw in and things that I would scratch on. And I had audio from Boggy Creek that I would scratch, and nobody knew what it was, you know, but it was just a little thing for me, I guess. I enjoyed it.
Apparently the Bigfoot howl that you hear in Legend of Boggy Creek is the actual howl that somebody recorded of the Boggy Creek monster that they incorporated into the film. So,
well, that's what I was scratching, was the howl.
Well, you had real Bigfoot howl in there.
Yeah,
there you go.
That's pretty neat.
totally spaced again. I see. That's what comes.
It's one of
from
them days,
falling
man.
off your pants.
Yeah.
Well,
It's one
yeah.
of them
If I had
days.
like a bullet point list, I'd be like, oh, I'd be writing
Yeah.
this, right? This.
That's usually what we do. We'll have like a list, like of topics or points we want to get across, and then half the time something will be going on around us in the background or something. Like he has kids. We hadn't been recording together. We've been doing it remotely, but a few weeks ago we were able to get together and actually record in person the episode, and the kids were his little one. One of our episodes we had planned out ended up being a whole episode about him and his toy dinosaur, which if anybody listened, it was he's 2. Can I tell the story?
Yeah, it's definitely given us some content for the last couple episodes.
He's 2. So this is kind of okay behavior. Now if crypto started doing it, it'd be weird. You'll get it after I tell you, but he had a pet, not a pet, but a toy dinosaur. And at one point we're getting ready, setting up, getting our mics and checking sound and everything. And he's in the other room, and I look over my shoulder, and the little boy is kind of digging in his nose, like, oh, hey, look, he's digging for gold or something. I don't remember what we were saying, but and a few minutes later, I turn around, look again, he's digging again, but this time he takes what he finds in his nose and he feeds it to his dinosaur. And so we ended up talking about that for the whole episode.
Yeah,
like I said, we had plans, and that's what killed him. I could have saved him. Maybe if somebody had done that sooner.
Well, I went off on that and just made up the story on the spur of the moment, and I said that after all the dinosaurs, like they died in the meteor shower or whatever, he was the last surviving one, and he ate dinosaurs. He doesn't want to eat humans. For some reason he's still around. He doesn't want to eat humans. He's particular about what he eats, so he really has no choice but to just eat boogers. And I don't know why he doesn't eat other food.
You don't know. That's because your boy's not sharing the good snacks with him.
Yeah,
you don't know about the Cheez-Its and the the bacon.
His owner doesn't share.
Yeah.
Here. I don't want to eat this. You can
take what you get. Yeah. It's like eat your dinner or go to bed without it or something. It's like, take what you get.
When you can incorporate the kids into the show, you really get a whole new element. I know a very successful podcaster. I've been listening to him for years, and just back in 2018. Wow, doesn't seem that long ago. His little girl would walk in while he was doing the show, and he's like, "You want to do story time?" And she'd make up a story, and it was like these stories would become comic books later on. They would just take the story elements, like, okay, we're going to turn that into a comic book, and all I can remember is water buffaloes, lizards were creeping up out of the river, and they'd bite the water buffalo on the ankle, and the water buffalo would die 3 days later.
Wow, that's it's kind of scary lizard.
Yeah, I have no idea why that lizard was so poisonous.
That's awesome.
But, man.
See, that's the thing is, like, with us, like we talk about topics, but the humor that we throw in, people kind of expect goofy stuff like that from us now.
I try that, but I'm not that good at it. My partner's better at it than I am, because he just is. He's laying on the bed right now, staring up at the ceiling. This is Marmalade. He's done some interviews on our show, and he's done some karaoke. Yeah, I've done a lot of karaoke. I'm gonna do that again. Well, whenever Neff has another karaoke night, I want to sing a song. Well, not tonight, okay? But yeah, when he takes over, it's like I just quit.
He don't like eat boogers or nothing, right?
No. He's got no holes in his nose, so I don't know how he would do it.
Yeah.
I was gonna say when he takes over, you're just speechless. You don't even know what to say.
Exactly. Yeah, I just keep my mouth shut as best I can.
Yeah.
but you know, he'll do like interviews to the side here. That's what this curtain's for. There's a puppet theater on the other side of it with another camera, and then I just kind of sit back here and run the computer and ask the questions and read the chat. And some of the stuff that comes through him, fed from the chat, I'm like, I have no idea how I couldn't do that as me, reading the chat and doing it. So
it's like it gives you a different energy. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, it's a sort of schizophrenia. You become a different person. I talk about him. I'm doing it right now. I talk about him like he's a real person. It's a toy.
Right.
It's a thing sitting over here made out of fur.
Oh, we definitely talk about Boogersaurus like he's real.
So there you go. You know what I'm talking about. So what are people going to see on the show coming up next?
We're, like I said, week to week, we'll be talking about any interesting topics. We'll probably still talk about Peacemaker for the next couple of weeks before that series ends.
Book of Boba as well.
Book of Boba Fett. The Chainsaw Massacre movie is coming. I am working on. So I've been a huge fan of horror hosts, like I said, Svengoolie, Joe Bob Briggs, and I kind of study. I'm like obsessed with it, and I just read everything I can about it, like the history, like way back to like Zachary and Vampira and all that.
I was gonna say Vampire. I just watched Plan 9 from Outer Space. In fact, I'll be joining that channel again later tonight if I remember to. George Peter Gatsis, youtube.com/George Peter Gatsis. Every Friday night, it's roasting a public domain movie. Just the MST3K style, and then every Saturday night it's roasting an old cereal, a Republic cereal like the Green Hornet or
nice.
even Batman. And he's remastered all of them himself. He's a videographer. He's cleaned it up, took out anything that YouTube would have jumped at, said, "Oh nope, this 10-second clip of music here is not public domain, and we're going to flag you for it." So puts a lot of work into them.
Right. But so I did on thestevestrout.com a couple years back a series about horror hosts. I did like a profile series with a couple, legends. I had Svengoolie took part in it, Count Gordeval, who's been doing it for like 50 years, and then a bunch of newer hosts, because there's like a whole new generation of horror hosts that have popped up with the internet and YouTube and streaming and everything. Chili Billy. Oh, yeah. I know about Chili Billy. He was like the man in Pittsburgh. He did everything. Was he like a wrestling announcer and wasn't he a news anchor, if I'm not mistaken? And then he was a horror host. But so, yeah, I'm bringing back that series. I already got a few lined up, and I'm not going to announce yet until I don't announce any guests or anything until we actually have it recorded, like our interview, because I mentioned I've done that whole thing where I don't press the record button. So I don't announce anything until I got it, I got it in the can.
You ever talked with Rhonda Shear? She was the one I liked watching a lot. It was USA all night.
All night. Yeah. I never talked with her, but I think she after that she was pretty successful, like selling bras or something.
Yeah.
She made a ton of money on like QVC or home shopping, one of them things. Like she made bank. But she's somebody cool. I would like to talk to her. I listened to somebody's show and they had her on. I want to say it was Darcy the Mail Girl from Joe Bob Briggs's Last Drive-In. I think she might have had Rhonda on her show, and that was good. It was interesting. But that's the big thing right now is working on that horror host thing, because I've been for the longest time trying to convince Crypto that horror hosts are the coolest thing ever. I think he's starting to buy into it, but I think once he does this and I introduce him to all these characters, I think he'll be more more into it, and I'm hoping a lot of our listeners that don't know about it might jump in and check it out and open their eyes to a whole new side of entertainment and sci-fi and horror that they might not have known about.
Say, Crypto, I've got hanging up in the closet behind me here. I'm not going to dig it out. A full body Yeti costume, complete with hands and feet. That if you need a horror host to jump in some night, if you need the Yeti to host something, call me up. Let me know.
That would be awesome.
You can do an interview with me.
There you go. Interview the Yeti.
And I'm actually down here in Arkansas, northern half, so nowhere near Boggy Creek. Although I've been down there before. Been down near Falk. And of course, living on top of this mountain here, Holiday Island, Arkansas. I had to check, and yes, there had been a Bigfoot sighting in the area.
Was it just you on did you get drunk one night and kind of wander around in the suit?
Oh no, I had just moved here, but I did consider on Halloween. I'm like, what would happen if I were just to walk through these woods to the other side in this costume? I'm like, yeah, no.
Yeah, he might get shot at or something. I wouldn't risk that one.
Or you find a Bigfoot out there that's looking for some loving, and that'd be just as scary.
Oh yeah,
yeah, that would be just as scary, especially when he finds out. It's like, wait a second, you're not a Bigfoot. You can't trans that thing. you have to be human all the time.
Yep.
But
that's why you mentioned interviewing Bigfoot. That's like we've been talking about having Crypto's dad as a guest because his dad is a Santa Claus. He's a professional Santa Claus.
Yeah.
And we're hoping that maybe he'll have some because he goes on trips and they send him to different places to perform as Santa for, the whole month and a half of the season.
Wow.
And we're just hoping that maybe he has some crazy stories or scary or inappropriate Santa stories that he could share with us.
Stories.
Yeah, bad Santa stories.
Bad Santa, yeah.
I think that would be fun. But I like the Yeti idea too. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
All right. So if people want to follow the podcast in its various forms, the hub that they should go to would be thestevestrout.com.
You can stream it there. I usually embed the episodes there. Just go to anywhere you listen to podcasts. Anchor, Spotify, Apple, Stitcher. There's a bunch of them. iHeartRadio. Yeah, we've been posting some of the older episodes on YouTube. So if you only use YouTube, check it out and kind of get an idea of what we're about on there. Yeah. And that's where we're also putting the videos
now as well.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm trying to teach myself how to edit videos and do all that stuff. Like it's like I said, I love learning new things. And this is just all opening the door for me to figure this kind of stuff out. But did you watch the first video before the NECA balls one?
I didn't. I watched the NECA balls one, and then I had to. I saw that the road got plowed and the driveway got shoveled out, and I'm like, I need to try to make it an hour and a half away.
Yeah.
Well, check out the first video sometime, and you'll be disappointed, but you'll also get a little laugh.
The NECA balls was a follow up to this first one because we had another like a NECA mystery bag thing that was very disappointing. So we kind of turned it into a fun little thing, and we just kind of just check it out. I don't want to say too much. I'm trying to get people to look at it. Nobody's looking at it, so maybe the suspense will kill them and they'll go look at it.
Well, everybody go check out the Steve and Crypto podcast show on YouTube and on thestevestrout.com. Guys,
yeah,
this has been fun. I never know where a conversation is going to go when I do something that's not a crowdfunded comic. I'm like, well, let's just see what happens.
Actually, can I give a quick shout out to a crowdfunded comic? Our friend Craig E. Sawyer. He has a comic called The Forbidden Museum, and it's based on classic monsters like the Wolfman and Dracula and the creature from the Black Lagoon. And he's about to launch his Kickstarter for his issue 2, which is coming up soon. So if you're following me or Crypto on social media, he's at CryptoZoo88, at the Steve Strout. we've posted about his book quite a bit. So you can just search through our stuff and you'll find the Forbidden Museum comic. It's really awesome. We actually just gave away an issue 1. We had a couple extra issues that he sent us for listeners.
Send him on over. We'll give him a whole show.
Yeah, I'll connect with him and I'll tell him to reach out to you. He'd definitely love to do it. He's a good dude.
Yeah.
Fun to talk to.
All right. Well, guys, thank you so much for reaching out to us and coming on the show tonight. It's been a lot of fun.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you
Everybody
very much
in the
for having
chat.
us on.
We're glad to do it. Anytime you guys want to come back, just say, hey, what are you doing tonight? I'm like, man, come on and do a show.
Let's do it. Yeah.
Yeah,
That's how
we want to come talk to the Yeti sometime now.
Yeah.
Now I'm sitting here wondering whether the Yeti should do a ventriloquist act with marmalade.
Just growls and grunts.
Yeah.
It'd be easy.
Yeah, that's all he can make it do, and then he just throws it.
See, that one you could do after a few drinks.
Oh yeah. Folks in the chat, thank you so much for being here. We don't have a show without you. So we're always glad when you show up. And as always, while you were here, we just hope you had a blast. Good night.
Thanks, guys.